My focus is on how morality is treated, not as an absolute but as something that can be inverted, challenged, or outright dismissed. We should think of morality as a spectrum, one with poles that allow for gradation between better and worse. But when we also ask whether following societal norms is inherently good or merely convenient. What concerns me is the growing narrative among Satanists, especially groups like the Satanic Temple and to a lesser degree the Church of Satan, who portrays their rejection of traditional moral values not as an attack on Christianity, but as a performance of superiority, a claim to a more enlightened way of being human. To them, Christian virtues such as humility, compassion, forgiveness, and charity are just not outdated, they are false. Instead, the left-hand path promotes values rooted in indulgence, transgression, and conflict. It seeks to empower the strong and ridicule the weak, to embrace dissonance rather than harmony. But how far can this inversion follow from values and be pushed before it collapses on itself? If the goal is to undermine every moral principle held by humanity, then what foundation remains? If altruism becomes a weakness, and guilt something to cast off, we're left with a value system built not on reason but on negation, a reactionary state with no stable ground of its own. Thus, divorcing oneself from religious dogma is one thing, but rejecting all morality outright is another, especially when those moral systems have sustained human society since its beginning. If your entire framework revolves around the destruction of cardinal values like shame or empathy, it begs the question, how long can such a system sustain itself without falling into chaos or contradiction? In one way, in such view, to be logically consistent, such a worldview must hold itself to a high standard. But the left-hand path in seeking to negate all norms offers no possible replacement of virtue, only continual inversion. So, if you reject all values purely for the sake of rejecting them, you end up with a conflicting worldview that champions destruction over construction, dissonance over coherence, all without offering any reasoned justification. And this is where contradiction lies. A system that prides itself on rejecting structure still needs some form of structure to critique the old one. Without it, it becomes incoherent, a revolt without reason, and a rebellion without a vision.